Throughout Africa today, commemorations are underway to mark a day of scientific renaissance. The day is being celebrated in remembrance of the continent's great contribution to the rise and development of modern science and technology. But this year's celebration is coming with a warning that Ghana could lose 30% of its 2019 food production due to the effect of COVID-19. And that's why this year's Day of Scientific Renaissance of Africa is keeping the focus on the application of science that addresses a potential catastrophe that's waiting to happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen. On the line with me right now is Professor Mary Obodai. She's Director of CSIR Food Research Institute. Prof, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Renaissance. Tell us about this renaissance. I mean, I'm not very familiar with it. Help us understand, myself and the viewers.
Okay, thank you. The Day of Scientific Renaissance of Africa is celebrated every year on the 30th of June. And it's a day where scientists, the work they do is acknowledged or is brought to the floor of the public or to the world, as it were, their contribution to the rise and development of modern science and technology. African scientific renaissance literally means reawakening of science. Okay. So it's for the public to know what we have been doing over the years or within the year, what has been happening in various scientific institutions. And for this year's celebration, the theme is rethinking food security and nutrition in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay.
So that is the celebration theme for this year in Ghana.
And that's because we foresee a certain effect of this COVID pandemic on our food security. Tell us a bit about that. How scary is it?
As you are aware, this pandemic has brought into play a lot of issues in terms of farmers' lack of getting access to the markets, to seedlings, to transport due to the restricted movements and other issues that can be a problem to the general food security of the nation. So this is what the celebration is about, for us to let members know that there is hope. It's not all as dire as it looks, because as people are getting used to the new system or the new norm, a lot of other things are coming into play. So as we know, there's reduced availability of food and access to quality food. Our emphasis this year is on nutrition, the quality, the food that we have, its nutritive value. What are we taking in? What are the portion sizes? What are the nutrients that we need to have as we take in our food? So we are looking at a greater focus on products with high micronutrient content and immune supporting characteristics that can help boost our immune system in the wake of this COVID-19. So that's where the emphasis is. So we're also looking at food sovereignty, of self-reliance, and exploring diversification of crop production activities. And also they are scaling up underutilized crop species that are healthy and culturally accepted. So we are emphasizing a lot on underutilized indigenous crops like the ayoyo, the water yam, the different varieties of maize. We have different varieties of millets. We have different varieties of mushrooms, the yellow yam. These are all underutilized crops.
I see.
Which we want to, pardon?
Yeah, which we want to focus on. I just wanted to find out, you mentioned that there is hope. And I've just run out of time, but I want you to touch a bit more on where lies the hope. People have, we know the ongoing conversations about GMOs, etc. Is a part of where our hope lies. The immune boosters, how are we localizing our interventions for the farmers who produce these things? And like I said, I've run out of time, so if you can briefly touch on that for me, I'll be very grateful.
Our emphasis, like is on indigenous foods, our local foods, eating local meals, healthy foods, the local Ghanaian dishes. That's where our emphasis is. We are not talking about GMOs, and GMOs, they are to do with getting various characteristics in foods that enhance the growth of or are able to restrain or resist pests and droughts. Those are the varieties that will be promoted when it starts. But we haven't started that. But I'm saying that we have the indigenous foods that are available for consumption, the local foods, the local fresh foods that are available that we can stress on and eat the foods to help boost our immune system, enhance our immune system. So it's good to think of eating healthy and eating fresh foods.
Let me take let me take an advice from you as a food researcher to, let's say, our agric ministry or our agric institutions or our farmers, our local farmers, or people who manage these local farmers on this day of the scientific renaissance of Africa. If you have one thing you don't want them to forget, what is it as we wrap up?
We should eat healthy, eat local. She eats fresh foods, and whatever is left should be preserved. For example, in our institute, we do a lot of preserved foods, maintaining the integrity of the food. So we have instant foods, we have the various cereal mix, we have the legumes that have been made into powders. All these are preserved if they are fresh. When they are fresh, then they are preserved. So you are sure that we have a more stable shelf life, longer shelf life. We have the micronutrients preserved in the foods. We should eat those, and we should also eat healthy. So that's one thing we would want to leave with the Ghanaian public, to eat healthy, eat local, and eat fresh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Prof, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. And I must say that you also represent a glimmer of hope for young women, young children, young girls who also want to get to this level. Professor Mary Obudai is director of CSIR Food Research Institute, joining us on Zoom. Eat healthy, preserve the food when it is fresh, and hopefully we'll all be fine. It's been great having you. Unfortunately, I'm unable to go through most of the rest of the messages I have right now.